The rumor mill's been churning, and lately the word on the street, aka the word on the MMA forums, MMA reporters, MMA media, the Twitter sphere, you guys get the picture. The word is, or at least the rumor is, that there is a good possibility that Jose Aldo versus Conor McGregor 2, the rematch, may be in the works. I'm not against the fight, man. I'm definitely not opposed to it. I think it's a great fight for both guys. The reason being is, first of all, they both use a win. They're both coming off a loss. Jose Aldo lost to Alexander Volkanovski in his last outing, and as all you know, Conor McGregor lost to Khabib Nurmagomedov. So the first fight between them would have happened, I think it happened in like 2015, something like that. So yeah, it's been a couple years. Everybody knows how it went down. 12 or 13 second KO, one of the fastest KOs in history. One of the most well-known knockouts in history, no doubt about that. Jose Aldo, coming into that match, was probably widely considered, without a doubt, the greatest 145-pound fighter of all time. And to this day, there's still a lot of people that consider him the GOAT of the 145 division, and for good reason. There's definitely a strong argument there. He might be the greatest fighter of all time, and some people might consider Conor McGregor the best 145-pounder of all time, which can be confusing, but you got to think about it. Jose Aldo, going into that fight, was an absolutely dominant 145-pound champion, and Conor McGregor dethroned him and absolutely obliterated him in 12 or 13 seconds. Aside from that, he beat Max Holloway at 145, although it was a super young Max Holloway. But you got to also take into consideration that it was also a super young Conor McGregor. They were both very green in their careers. Aside from that, Conor McGregor beat Chad Mendes, and Chad Mendes at the time was probably widely considered to be the second best 145-pounder, and probably, I think you could definitely argue, top 5 of all time for him as well. He has a ton of incredible wins on his resume, and he was an absolute beast at that time. Yes, going into that fight, you got to take into consideration that Chad Mendes was a last-minute replacement. He didn't have a full training camp. He only had, I don't remember how long he had. I want to say a couple weeks, but it was a very last-minute thing. So, yeah, obviously the fight could have went down completely different if Chad Mendes did have the opportunity to get a full camp, but he didn't. So, let's go back to the original topic of discussion. Conor McGregor, Jose Aldo 2. Could it happen? Like I said, according to the rumor mill, it's a possibility. But ever since the Khabib-Conor fight, I've heard rumor after rumor after rumor of who Conor McGregor could and will be fighting. I've heard about Cowboy Cerrone. I've heard about Justin Gaethje. I've heard about Tony Ferguson. I've heard about, lately, Jorge Masvidal, Nate Diaz 3. There's so many names that have been thrown out there. And honestly, a lot of them make sense. And apparently some of them were even close enough to the point where they were about to be signed. The only thing holding the fight back was the fact that Conor demanded to be the main event, and because the fight was not going to be for a championship belt, the UFC refused to put Conor in that main event slot, which makes no sense at all to me. Conor McGregor is such a big star that why would you put him anywhere else except the main event slot? Especially in today's UFC. It's not like everyone's exactly earning title shots these days or earning main event slots, so how are you not going to put your biggest star, the one that by far makes the company the most amount of money, in the main event slot, especially if that's the only thing holding him back from signing like that Cowboy Cerrone fight? I don't know. But as you guys know, if you watch this channel regularly, a lot of the things the UFC does these days puzzle me. They don't exactly make the most sense to me in the world, but I'm not behind the scenes. I don't see all the numbers, all the statistics, all the analytics. So obviously this is from my point of view only. Take it with a grain of salt, but that's my opinion. Aside from all of that, like I had said at the beginning of this video, I'd love to see the fight. The first one had so much hype behind it, an incredible amount of hype. The press conferences leading up to it, the interviews leading up to it, everything was good, man. It was entertaining. Conor, without a doubt, got into Jose Aldo's head. A lot of people think that it affected the outcome of the fight, myself included. I would love to see how it played out a second time. I think obviously it'd be a completely different fight. There's no way it's going to end, at least I don't think it's going to end that quickly. It'd be pretty amazing if it did. I think that was kind of like lightning striking. I don't think there's too good of a chance of that happening again. But man, at the time I would have loved to see that fight play out a little bit longer, because both of them were such great fighters. And now a couple of years later, although Jose Aldo's lost a couple fights since then, Conor McGregor as well, I would still absolutely love to see the rematch, and I would love to see how that fight would play out for a second time, or even just a continuation of the first fight. So if it was up to me, heck yeah, I'd love to see it. Do I think it would be a lot more competitive than the first one? Yes, of course I do. I think it would be a great fight. I think Jose Aldo's lost a little bit of steam. It's tough to say if Conor did, man, because Khabib was just a horrible matchup for him. As a lot of you guys know, styles make fights. I don't think you could find a worse stylistic matchup for Conor McGregor than Khabib. So I don't think you can take too much from that fight as far as how a second fight with Jose Aldo would go. But aside from that, Conor has been pretty much the definition of inactive since the Jose Aldo fight. He had the fight in, 2016 against Eddie Alvarez, and then obviously he had the huge boxing match against Floyd Mayweather, which means absolutely nothing when it comes to MMA for the most part. So he, like I said, has been very inactive, so it's kind of tough to say where Conor McGregor is truly at these days. We didn't see all too much in the Khabib fight, and what we did see, in my opinion, wasn't good. Conor McGregor did not look good. He's never been known for his cardio by any means, but even when the fight was taking place on the feet, I don't think he looked too great in the stand-up exchanges, which obviously is what he's known for. He's known for striking, his boxing. So I don't know. I'd love to see it. I think it would give us a very good indication of where each fighter is at this point in their career. And I still think there's definitely a lot of animosity between the two. I don't think Jose Aldo would let Conor McGregor get into his head nearly as much as he did the first time. But I still think the press conferences, interviews, and all the other media stuff leading up to the fight would be very entertaining and very worthwhile watching. So I think it would create big numbers for the UFC. I think the pay-per-view would sell very well. I think there's be a ton of fan interest in it. And man, that rumor just started spinning around within the last, I want to say the last like 3 days, maybe 3 days ago is when I first saw something about it. And I don't know who the first person that reported it was. If I did, I would shout him out or, drop a link or something, but I'm not sure. I've seen it reported quite a few times by now, which hopefully is a good thing. Hopefully that means that there's a little more legitimacy to whoever the original source was. Hopefully there's a little more legitimacy to that fight actually happening. But yeah, time will tell. We'll see. Like I said, there's been tons of rumors lately about who Conor McGregor's next opponent may be, when Conor McGregor's going to return to the octagon. Dana White, I'm pretty sure he said multiple times it's going to be before the end of the year, so I don't know. I heard that the rumor is, as far as I know, that it will be, if the rematch happens, it will be in New York. So whenever their next card is at Madison Square Garden, which off the top of my head I want to say like August or September, but it could be off. Aside from that, guys, I don't know. Like I said, I'd love to see the fight. I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably heard about that rumor as well. If you have, or if you haven't, either way, let me know what you think about it. Do you want to see the fight? If you do, who do you think takes it and why? If you don't want to see it, let me know why not. And let me know who you would like to see each fighter fight instead. Anyways, guys, that's a wrap for the video. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the fights this weekend, and I'll see you next time.
My goodness! Oh my God! Just like that! That is some serious power! Wow!